my body just wasn't able to get to the point that I needed it to get to in order to compete at a high level. That's just full stop, really, if I could sum it up, it was that. Um, but I still love tennis and I definitely want to be involved. I love coaching and I find it so rewarding, very therapeutic, actually. So it just sort of feels like a no-brainer to stay in tennis in that respect. And I'm really grateful that I get to work with Tennis Canada and that they have me on board. I'm learning a lot. I get to work with incredible people. I get to work with incredible players. So I truly just been such a blessing. And honestly, at the end of most days, I think to myself, like, I can't believe this is my job. Like it's just, the time just flies. So I'm really grateful. It's definitely been quite the transition. I think that, it's a big part of it is just accepting that, things unfolded the way they did. I think there's a part of me that knows that most of the time it's not a fairy tale ending. For the most part, professional athletes finish their career, I would say, on the way out in that sense. And you're not usually at the top of the game and ranked as high as you ever were because, if you are, you're going to keep playing. It's usually injuries or something that slowly starts to take you away from the game or at least make you have to kind of compromise your level, so to speak. So I think realistically, I understand that, but I guess it's interesting that it that my last event was the year-end finals, and I didn't even know it. In hindsight, looking back, I thought, okay, I'll just manage my injuries and I'll be back in a few months, and a few months turned into a few years, and then I realized, you know what, I just don't think it's going to happen. So realistically, it's time to move on. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm somewhat of a pathological optimist, and I think that at some point, you just need to look forward, and there's so much more life to live. And as a professional athlete, I'd say as a professional tennis player, because it depends on the sport, I always knew that there was more years in front of me than behind me whenever I was going to retire. So mentally, I think I was prepared for that, and I think I did a pretty good job of at least, having some things to go to when that transition happened.
Well, it's pretty phenomenal, I think, to be able to say that the last tournament you ever played professionally was the biggest one out there in the sense that it's reserved for the top 8 doubles teams in the world. Like, I don't even know if any professional tennis players ever ended their career at that event, you know?
Well, I've actually never thought of it that way. So that does sound pretty cool. I'll take that. Yeah.
I mean, we don't have the research staff at Matchpoint Canada confirm that, of course, but I just wonder, right? Like it's interesting because if you're playing in that tournament, it means you're one of the best teams and best doubles players out there. Most would be continuing, but unfortunately for you, it was the shoulder. I think was that it?
Yeah, it was the shoulder. I was battling that shoulder all year. It's crazy because I actually think if I think back, I actually only competed maybe 5 months in that entire season and finished, I think, 22nd or 21st, maybe at the year end.
Mhm.
So I think to myself, gosh, if I was able to be healthier for a little longer or the whole season, I wonder, I
Imagine that.
wonder what I would have been able to achieve ranking wise. But it was the shoulder initially, and then just through, uh, I'm gonna say bad decisions. In hindsight, looking back, I would have definitely done things differently with certain decisions that I made for my health and my rehab and recovery. But hindsight's always 2020. So that's sort of what happened. It started with the shoulder, and then it led to other things, compensation and all that stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
How proud are you of that season though? Because my goodness, I mean, it's the first time you made the quarters of a slam. You won a WTA 1000 tournament, which is the next level of huge events out there, and qualified for that year-ending tournament, as you said, only playing for not even maybe half the season.
Yeah, and I made the Olympics, which was the reason I came back, which was really special. I'm very proud of this season. In hindsight, I'm very proud of it. I think in the moment, I could have enjoyed it a lot more. That's usually the case, I would say, when I talk to other athletes, is I just wish I enjoyed it more. I wish I enjoyed the journey more. But I'm very proud of it. I would have done things differently, but all things considered and everything that I was faced with and all the adversity that I I had to deal with. I think I did a really great job with the resources I had and who I was at the time. So lots of positives, and I think for my soul, I choose to focus on that the most.
That's great. I mean, we were thrilled for you, obviously, because we'd known you for so many years, and you had already taken a break from tennis and kind of come back to it. It was like your second crack at it, and you were just having, living your best life out there as a tennis player on tour, and so it was so nice to see. Does the fact that you had stepped away from the game before make it a little bit easier now to transition? You already had, so many things in place, like the broadcasting, tennis analysis that you had done, and things like that.
Yeah, actually, I accidentally sort of paved a good way to transition from from pro tennis to life after pro tennis, unintentionally for sure. But it was that break that really set me up to be able to sort of transition seamlessly. I'd done my certifications in the break that I had taken, and at the time I thought I was really done. I'd retired, so I got my Coach 3 certifications. I'd already gotten reps doing broadcasting and commentating with Sportsnet, so I had that rapport, which was really good. And I built the relationships with many of the coaches and staff at Tennis Canada. Also had been working at the Granite Club at the same time too, so I had some connections in the local community. So I felt like when it was time to transition and I made that final decision because 'cause I'm not coming back for a third time, yeah, I felt like it wasn't as much resistance, and I wasn't as, how should I say? I wasn't as confused or, searching in a way with what I wanted to do. I didn't have to find myself. I knew that I love the sport and I wanna stay in the sport, whether that's through coaching or, TV. I really think that tennis brings me a lot of joy, and it's where I really want to be spending most of my time.
We'd love to hear that, and obviously enjoyed the Billie Jean King Cup and Davis Cup and any international competitions where we saw you, behind the microphone. Is it going to be a struggle to maintain that with the coaching? Are you going full coaching now, or are you hoping to kind of keep your hand in both of those aspects of the sport?
Um, Knowing myself, I'd like to keep my hand in both. I don't think that they have to be. I don't think it has to be so binary. I truly feel that commentating and broadcasting has made me a better coach, and I think that coaching has made me a better broadcaster/commentator. I think that both things give me different perspectives, and I learn a lot, and I feel that I'm more valuable, in both of those roles because of each other. So my hope is that I can do both. They both bring me a lot of joy and fulfillment. So if there's a way to keep doing, both things, I'll definitely try my best to do that.
Well, there's plenty of your contemporaries that have been successful kind of juggling both at the same time, from Pam Shriver to Darren Cahill, Brad Gilbert. I mean, the list goes on and on. So why not add a Canadian, voice to that as well?
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.